All right, let f be a differentiable function such that f of 2 equals 3. So far, all that we know is that you can take the derivative of it. That's all that means. So we know that the original function at 2, it has the point 3. So I'm just going to start graphing this because I think it's helpful to graph these. So at 2, it equals 3. It says f prime of x is greater than or equal to 2. That means that the derivative is always greater than or equal to 2. It's never allowed to be less than 2. Which means that the slope of the line is always going to be greater than or equal to 2. So the slope can never be less than 2 for all x. It says, of the following, which is not a possible value for f of 0. So I'm going to plot all of these points really quick on my graph. I'll do them in different colors. So the first one, it says 0. Is 0 allowed to equal 4, which would be right here? Is 0 allowed to equal negative 1, which would be down here? Is 0 allowed to equal negative 3, which would be down here somewhere? Let me put some lines on this so you guys can see these. Is 0 allowed to equal negative 5? Which would be right here. Or is 0 allowed to equal negative 1,000, which would be way, way, way down here at the bottom? You guys get the point. All right, so you guys can see all these different options. So red is A, orange is B, so on and so forth. It says the derivative has to always be greater than or equal to 2, okay, which means that the minimum that it's allowed to jump is 2. So it has to go up 2 over 2, up 2 over 1, because remember this is the slope, the derivative is the slope of the tangent line. So the graph must go up 2 over 1 at least for every time. So if you start here, up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1, that's nowhere near. To actually get from the red one to the black one, you have to go down, which would be a negative slope. But notice that our derivative has to always be greater than 2, so it couldn't be a negative number. So maybe we should keep that as a little red flag. For the orange one, we go up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1. That's a possibility. A minimum, remember it has to go a minimum of up 2 over 1. For yellow, we could go up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1, and it would put us here. And notice how it's not equal to the point, but that's okay because it has to go up a minimum of 2. It has to be greater than or equal to 2. So for yellow, notice it could go up 2 over 1, and then it could go up 4 over 1, and that's okay. It's allowed to go up more than 2, just has to go up a minimum of 2. Obviously, the green one's going to work. You could go up here, over here, up here, over here. So obviously, the green one will work. And the blue one, it would have a very, very steep slope, but the blue one works as well. You could go up 1,000 over 1, and then up, 3 over 1. So just depending on what the slope is. This question is more of just a conceptual question, understanding that if the derivative is greater than or equal to 2, that it can't be negative, it can't be 1, and it can't be 0. So obviously to get from the red point to the black point, you would have to go down, which means that the slope would be negative, and that's not okay, because that would be less than 2. So the only one that doesn't work is the red one, so that's 4. 4 is the value that does not work, because it would require you to have a negative slope.